Okay? I'm going to announce it now and at the end of the show.
At the end. Or
What?
at the end.
Yeah, because that's when people will be on. Okay. Okay, so now it's on, right? Good morning, everybody. Everybody should have a good day. Stay safe, stay well. Klal Yisrael should have Yeshuas. Says the Haley Gemara. We're up to now. Chav Gimel Amud Bet 23b. About 10 lines up. 8 lines up. 9 lines up. V'lo b'shemen tzreifa. The Mishnah said you can't use oil that you must burn. What is shemen tzreifa? Oil that you burn. You can't use that to light your neirot on Erev Shabbat. What is that? Says the Gemara, "My shemen tzreifa." What is that? Amar Rabba shemen shel truma shenitme'ah. That is oil of truma that became tameh. And the halacha is that you can't eat it. The kohen cannot eat teruma. Teruma is the elevated produce that's given to the kohen from an ordinary man, a regular Yisrael's produce. It's holy, it's given to the kohen. But if it's tameh, it is prohibited to be eaten. Because of its holiness, it has to be eaten in purity. The man has to be pure and the item has to be pure. So oil that is from teruma that became tameh, that is what is prohibited to be used on Erev Shabbat. Now why? We'll see. Now, besides why is it called oil that you burn? Why is it called oil that you burn? Since it is waiting to be burnt. Why is it waiting to be burnt? Because there's a mitzvah to burn it. Why do you have to burn it? Just don't eat it. Let it just sit there until it disintegrates, until it just it evaporates. The answer is because anything that's tameh from truma, we're worried that he might come to eat. So therefore there's the mitzvah midrabanan to go and burn, to get rid of it. So therefore it's called shemen tzreifa, shemen that is waiting to be burnt. Okay, so you have truma, shemen, that's waiting to be burnt. Don't use it at Erev Shabbat. Why not? That's exactly what I'm supposed to do. I'm a kohen, and the kohen could even have pleasure from use it as oil for his fire. Okay, he can't eat it, but he can have pleasure, so he can. Why not? We do a mitzvah with it. It's beautiful. Shabbat my time alone. So why not on Shabbat? So the Gemara answers, "Bitoch shemitzvah lav deva'aro gzera shemiyateh." Since it's a commandment, it's not just he could, he should burn it. So we're worried, extra worried, that even if he uses the best oil, right? Like we said yesterday, olive oil, and everything's great, but still he might come to tilt it to burn it quicker. Let's get this done faster, because I have a mitzvah to burn. And that's why we're worried about the gzeira of shemeyateh. Even this is the first oil that's a good oil that burns fine, that he might still tilt, because he wants to get it done quicker. Amalei Abaye. So Abaye said to Rabbah, his rabbi, Ela me'ata b'yom tov lishteri. So that on Yom Tov, let it be mutar. Because on Yom Tov, is there an istur of shemeyateh rabatai? No. Because if a guy tilts it, what's he doing? He's burning things. You're allowed to burn things on Yom Tov for your benefit. So, Alama Tanan, why did we learn in the next following Mishnah, which we're Be'ezat Hashem going to get to soon, today, it says, Ein madlikim b'shemen tzreifa b'yom tov. That on Yom Tov, you're not allowed to kindle this oil. But according to you, if the whole issue is that you might come to tilt it, why can't I do it on Yom Tov? So the Gemara says, Gzeira Yom Tov atu Shabbat. Because they said, Yom Tov and Shabbat, if you do Yom Tov, you're going to end up doing Shabbat. Shabbat, we don't want you to do because you're going to end up tilting it. Because you're in a hurry to do this mitzvah. Therefore, Okay. Now, and it's also very interesting. So, what's going on over here? Yom Tov atu Shabbat. Anything that you can't do on Shabbat, you can't do on Yom Tov. Really, you could do it on Yom Tov. You're going to end up doing it on Erev Shabbat. And that's going to be a problem for Shabbat. So what about all the other oils? All the other oils that you're not allowed to light on Erev Shabbat, because you might come to tilt. Doesn't say in the Mishnah you're not allowed to do those on Yom Tov. Only one you can't do on Yom Tov. Shem and Seifa. And we said the reason is why? Because if you do it on Yom Tov, you'll do it on Shabbat. So then you shouldn't be able to do all the oils. It's Tosfot's question. So Tosfot says, no. All the other ones are problematic. They're poor. They're poor wicks. They're not going to catch on. That's pashut. That a person is not going to mix up if he does them on Yom Tov and he's going to do them on, end up doing them on Shabbat. Because it's clear, the difference is clear. But Shem and Sreifa is perfect oil. It's, let's say olive oil, right? It is olive oil because, Midoraita, what do you give truma from? Olives, grain, and grapes. So the oil is from the olives. Midorabanan, you give from other fruits, let's say, right? Midoraita, according to many Shizor Rishonim, it's oil. It's olive oil. Olive oil is the best. There's nothing wrong with it. So, if I use it on Yom Tov, how am I going to remember not to use it on Shabbat? And Shabbat, what? Because I'm going to tilt it. Why should I tilt this? It's good oil. Oh, so it's because it's a mitzvah, so the guy might hurry. That's something that we have to worry about. That if you do it on Yom Tov, he might come up to do it on Shabbat because he won't see the difference. It's only because of a commandment, right? It's not because because of a mitziut, because of the facts on ground that the wicks and the oil are so poor that he's going to come to be shemiyateh. He's not going to realize that he's going to be shemiyateh. Nobody knows this reason. Oh, that since it's a mitzvah, I'm going to be shemiyateh, so I should better be careful. It's not like, right? It's very good. That's Tosfot's teretz. Okay. By the way, another question I just want to throw in. So you're making a gzera of Yom Tov atu Shabbat. And on Shabbat, why is it asur? Because of a gzera that you might come to tilt. So you make one gzera over another gzera, Tosfot's other question. Tosfot says, no, Shabbat and Yom Tov are one. They're one. Okay? Because most Isurei Melacha for Yom Tov and Shabbat are equal. Both of them have most Isurei Melacha. So if you say, don't do something on Yom Tov because of the problem of Shabbat, and in Shabbat it's also only because of a gzera, that's one gzera. That's like, they just made it broader. Instead of just Shabbat, they included Yom Tov as well. They incorporate, right? Okay, that's one gzera. Okay, says the Gemara, Rav Chisda Amar l'Shemiyat Eloch Hashinan. Rav Chisda says that you're right, you have to burn this. But we're not worried about the fact that since there's a mitzvah to burn, he'll be so involved in the mitzvah that he'll want to burn it quicker. And he'll come to tilt the oil. Rav Chisda says that's not what we're worried about at all. So if we're not worried about it, so why can't you use these wicks, this oil on Erev Shabbat? What's the problem? So Rav Chisda says the problem's like this. There is no problem. What? The Mishnah says, Ein madlikin b'shemen seifa on Erev Shabbat. So he says, you know what the case is? Elahacha b'yom tov shechal liot Erev Shabbat askinan. It's talking about it on Yom Tov. Okay? On Yom Tov, Erev Shabbat, Friday afternoon, was Yom Tov. That's why you can't burn Shemen Seifa. Why not? Why can't you burn Shemen Seifa on Yom Tov? The feature Ein Sofim Kadashim b'Yom Tov. Because there's a law that you're not allowed to burn disqualified holy items on Yom Tov. Okay? And we're going to get to that B'ezrat Hashem today also. Why can't you burn disqualified sacrificial items on Yom Tov. It's psukim. And therefore this was included as well. Okay, the burning tirumah is not sacrifices, but it's also holy items. Now, is it part of the same psukim, like deoraita, or is it like an add-on? Derabanan is machloket rishonim. But the point is, it's part of this halacha. It's part of the halacha that ein sofim kadashim b'yom tov, that you're not allowed to burn kadashim on Yom Tov. That is the halacha here. That's why if Erev Shabbat fell on Yom Tov, you can't burn it. You got it? Says Gemara, "V'hamida katani seifa emadik v'shemen seifa b'yom tov, b'chlal dereisha lav b'yom tov askinan." So now, okay, we have our Mishnah. What did our Mishnah say, Amnon? Our Mishnah said, and what did Rabbi Chizda just say it's talking about? On Yom Tov. Erev Shabbat, yeah, it's talking about Erev Shabbat, right? But on Yom Tov. And why? And then the next Mishnah says, it's redundant. So obviously, if the next Mishnah we're going to learn today is Yom Tov, this one, when it's talking about Erev Shabbat, is only Erev Shabbat without being on Yom Tov. So don't tell me that the reason is because it's Yom Tov. So the Gemara says, Amar Rav Chanina Misura Matam Kamar. No, it's one long halakha for both Mishnayot. It's a what reason? It's like one is the halakha, one is the reason. Matam Madikim Hashem and Sevi Yom Tov. Lefi, you want to know why? The second Mishnah says, Lefi Shein Sofim Kadashim Yom Tov. Because, morning, you don't burn Shemen Sreifa B'Yom Tov. That's why. Okay? It says Gemara, Tanya Kavatei Rav Chisda. We're about to start a brand new piece of Gemara in about 1 minute. So, Tanya Kavatei, we only did one short piece of Gemara here for 5 minutes, or for a little more. Tanya Kavatei Rav Chisda. We learned a Braita that's like Rav Chisda. What did Rav Chisda say? Let's remember what Rav Chisda said. That the only Erev Shabbat that you're not allowed to light Shemen Sreifa is on Yom Tov. So look at this Braita. If you look at the Braita, I want you to ask me a good kasha. Kol elu shamru ein madakim behem b'Shabbat. All the wicks, all the oils that you and the wicks that you can't light on Shabbat, madakim behem b'Yom Tov. You can light on Yom Tov. Chutz mishemen seifa. Fishe ein sofim kadashim b'Yom Tov. Besides shemen seifa, because you don't burn that on Yom Tov. So how's this a proof to Rav Chisda? The proof to Rav Chisda should be, you have to bring me a braita that says that on Erev Shabbat, the problem burning Shem Seifa is when it's on Yom Tov. It doesn't say that here. Not only doesn't say it here, it's telling you that you're allowed to do everything else. It sounds like on Erev Shabbat. What does it sound like? Let's read it again. It says, "Ei madikin ben b'Shabbat, madikin bahen b'Yom Tov, chutz mishemen sreifa that you can't do on Yom Tov." Okay? But it sounds like shemen sreifa on a regular Erev Shabbat is one of the types. This means like, from all the types of things that you're not allowed to burn on Erev Shabbat, you're allowed to do it on Yom Tov, besides one. Besides one that was in the group that you couldn't do on Erev Shabbat. On a regular Erev Shabbat. So you see over here that you can't burn shemen sreifa on a regular Shabbat. It's exactly, this Braita is not only not a proof to Rav Chisda, it's a proof opposite of Rav Chisda. Okay? See the third Tosfot on the page, Tanya, that he asks this kasha. So Tosfot answers, it means like this. This is the way you read it. All those that we said you don't light on Shabbat, you can light on Yom Tov, and all the more so, those that you light on Shabbat, you can light on Yom Tov, besides Shemen Tzreifa, that even though you light it on Erev Shabbat, because there's absolutely no gzeirah that you might come to till, because if Chizd doesn't over it, you still can't light on Yom Tov. That's the way you read it. That's the way it's a raya. Okay. Ibayilhu, Abotai, brand new Gemara, everybody join. Let's go. Ibayilhu, the Gemara had a question. They asked a question. We're going back to Chanukah.
Rabbi?
Yes.
Rabbi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Quick question. Does everybody know about the Zoom chat group?
Plead the fifth. I have no idea. Does everybody know the Zoom chat group?
It's on the chat group.
Alright, we'll talk afterwards.
It's on the chat group, he says.
It's the same chat group as the lighthouse.
It's the same chat group as the lighthouse, he says.
Okay.
Okay, you ready? Brand new Gemara. You ready? By the way, can I see your face, your holy face? You look very cool. Checking out your phone here, but I want to see you. Unless you don't want to show yourself. You're not supposed to ask that, right?
I'm currently in show form.
Oh, I forgot. You see, I'm not very, I'm not Zoom savvy, etiquette Zoom savvy. I don't know these things. I'm sorry. All right.
Rabbi, this is just for you, just to give you an idea.
Holy, you look great for me. You're fine.
I'm tzitzis out at 6 in the morning.
What? If you're wearing tzitzis, that's it. Amen. Unless now everybody else sees you like that, also. Whoever's connected. No one else is connected. Stay like that. We want to see your face, your holy face. Ibayluhu. Ma'ula haske shechanuk bevisa mozen. Kiva de b'darabon.
Rabbi, I'm sorry, where are I just
Chav Dalid Amid Aleph, 4 lines from the top. 24a, 4 lines from the top.
Zach. Alright.
It's a whole different cheer when I see you.
Alright, let's go.
But he can't see me anymore, right? You like that? Okay. What's the halacha about mentioning Chanukah b'Birkat Hamazon? Which means ala nisim. Remember we said that they established Chanukah in 2 ways, the mitzvot, Hallel and Hoda'ah. Hoda'ah means thanks. What's Hoda'ah? Ala nisim. We thank Hashem for the nisim, the purka, and the gvurot, the chuot, and we say b'mema tetio b'nei we thank Him for all the miracles that happened over there. Question is like this. We know we do that in Shemona Esrei. Question is, do we do that in Birkat Hamazon as well? Kiven de midrabanan hu lo matkirinan. Do you say that since it's midrabanan, they're not going to mention it? Okay? It's not like Yom Tov that we mentioned Ya'aleh v'Yavo in the middle of Birkat Hamazon, because it's midoraita. So doraita, whoa, today is a very special day. It's doraita, so we're going to say Ya'aleh v'Yavo even in the Birkat Hamazon. Or Dilma mishum pesum nisa, but Chanukah, which is only the Rabbanan. So maybe they only instituted it in the Shemona Esrei, but not in the Birkat Hamazon. Or Dilma mishum pesum nisa mat kerinan. Or maybe mishum pesum nisa mat kerinan. Since it's such an amazing, great mitzvah to be mefarst in the nace, so we want to mention it even in Birkat Hamazon. Okay? Now we know that we do that, halacha, right? But we got it from this Gemara. The Gemara starts off asking if you do. Amar Rava, Amar Rav Schora, Amar Rav Huna, Eino Mazkir. You don't. Because it's only a midrabanan. It's not as great as Yom Tov. But if you do it in Hoda'ah, in the bracha of Hoda'ah, which is no delecha, when we thanks, in the bracha of thanks. Rav Huna bar Yehuda ikla lebei Rava. He visited Rava's house. He wanted to say Ala Nisim in Bonei Yerushalayim. Just like that's the place where you mention, Ritzei, that's the place where you mention Ya'aleh v'Yavo on Yom Tov. So he wanted to mention Ala Nisim after Rachem, before, right? Bonei Yerushalayim. Amalu Rav Sheshet Kitfilah. So Rav Sheshet told him, no, it's exactly like the Shemona Esrei. The Amidah, Ma Tfilah behoda'ah, Birkat Hamazon behoda'ah. Just like during the Amidah, the prayer, you do it in the bracha of Modim, right? After you say Modim, if you notice, you don't say it where you do the Ya'aleh v'Yavo, which is in the bracha of Avodah, of Ritzei. You do it in the Modim because it's thanks. It's a different thing. Ya'aleh v'Yavo is a prayer. Please bring us back to Yerushalayim. That's why it should be in the bracha of Ritzei, which speaks about the Avodah, of going back to Yerushalayim. But this is a thanks, so you do it in Hoda'ah. Af Birkat Hamazon behoda'ah. So to Birkat Hamazon is in Hoda'ah. Now, okay. So that's the halacha. That you do it in Hoda'ah. Okay, Iboyelhu. So another question. What's the halacha about mentioning Rosh Chodesh in Birkat Hamazon, which means Ya'aleh v'Yavo in Birkat Hamazon. Now, im timtzi lomer b'Chanukah derabanan lo tzarich. If you would say that on Chanukah, which is derabanan, remember we just had a question, two sides to the question. If you would follow the side that since Chanukah is derabanan, we don't mention it in Birkat Hamazon, so then you could say, all right, that's because it's derabanan, but Rosh Chodesh deoraita tzarich. Rosh Chodesh is deoraita. What does it mean it's deoraita? It's deoraita that you bring, the Torah mentions Rosh Chodesh. You have to bring korbanot on Rosh Chodesh. Right? Uvrashecha shechem takrivu olah laHashem. You bring an olah Hashem. That's what we read every Rosh Chodesh in the Torah. Okay. So therefore, if that would be the reason why you wouldn't mention the Chanukah, you wouldn't have that reason for Rosh Chodesh. You would mention Ya'aleh v'Yavo, that special insert in the Birkat Hamazon, in the grace after meals on Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh, by the way, is the first day of the month, I forgot to mention, where there are special sacrifices that you bring in the Beit HaMikdash, in the temple, and therefore it is a day that is mentioned in the Torah. It's a special day. Or Dilma, or maybe no. Or maybe, since there is no prohibition to do any work, we're not going to mention it. We only mention Ya'aleh v'Yavo, this special insert, on days like Yom Tov, which there's an Isser Asiyat Melacha. And even on Chol HaMoed, there is many things that are prohibited to be done. So therefore, Rosh Chodesh might be different. Yeah, you need actually an Isur, a prohibition of doing Melacha. So the answer to that is Rav Amar Mazkir, you still mention it. Because it's Deoraita. Rav Chanina Amar Eno Mazkir. You don't. Amar Rav Zrika Nekot Rav B'yadcha. Take Rav in your hands. Keep Rav's halacha, that you do mention it. The Koi Rabbi Yoshe Kavateh, because Rabbi Oshia, which was a Tanai, which mentioned Brightot, he goes like Rav, that you do. The Tani Rav Oshia, because Rav Oshia taught, Yavim sheyesh behen korban musaf. Days that there was a korban, a sacrifice called musaf, which means an added korban. Musaf, every day. When we say every day, it means every day. That's why it's called the korban of the constant, the consistent, the every korban, the everyday korban, tamid. Every day, one olah in the morning, one olah in the afternoon. An olah is a burnt offering. That's what they brought in the Beit HaMikdash. However, on special days, like Shabbat, Yom Tov, Rosh Chodesh, they added a korban because of that specialness of that day. That's why it's called the added korban. Today that we pray for the tefillot, we do shacharit for the everyday olah, mincha for the everyday afternoon olah, avit for the burning of the afternoon olah, the burning of the limbs. And on those special days, we add a tefillah called Tfilat Musaf. Okay, now that we know what it is. The days that we have that Korban Musaf, Kagon Rosh Chodesh, the Cholosh Shel Moed, the intermediary days of Yom Tov, I think that's what they're called. Those middle days that are not as holy as the first day, and sometimes the last on Pesach of Yom Tov. Avit v'shachrit u'mincha mitpalel shmona esrei. For Arvit, Shachrit and Mincha, we pray Shmona Esrei. Ve'omer me'ein ha'me'ora, and you mention about the day, which means Ya'aleh v'yavo, be'avodah, in the bracha of avodah, which is the bracha of ritzei. Everybody knows that, most, right? Ve'im lo amar, machzirin oto. If he doesn't say it, you make him go back to the beginning of Shmona Esrei. Or if he already said, if he already step back. If you didn't step back, you send them back to that bracha. Ve'ein behen kedusha lakos, but you don't make kiddush on Rosh Chodesh or Cholosh Shel Moed. Right? Doesn't have enough holiness to make kiddush, to sanctify the day. Ve'yesh behen azkara bebikat hamazon, and you mention them bikat hamazon. Aha! So you see that Rav was right from this Braita, that you do mention Ya'aleh v'yavo on all days that you have Korban Musaf, which includes Rosh Chodesh. Because there's Musaf there. Because there was a special Korban that you brought on Rosh Chodesh. Right? And it says that in the Braita, it says Rosh Chodesh. Now,
Can you repeat that again, Rabbi?
yes, the Braita says, days that have a Korban Musaf, Kigon Rosh Chodesh. One of the examples was Rosh Chodesh. What you do is, you mention what happened on that day, which is Ya'aleh v'yavo, during the Shmona Esrei. You don't make Kiddush, and you mention them in Bikat HaMazon.
Right.
So it says it straight out. Okay, now the Braita continues. Yamim she'en behen Korban Musaf. Days that you don't bring a Korban Musaf. But there's special days anyways. Like which days? This might seem funny for a second. The Gemara will interject before it even says what to do. It's going to interject. Like, you know what type of special days? They don't have Musaf, they don't have this special Korban, but like Kagon Sheni, V'chamishi, like Monday and Thursday. What? V'taniyot, okay, that's interesting. And on fast days, Uma Madot, I'll explain what that is in a second. But let me just quickly get to the Gemara's question. The Gemara says, whoa, 1 second. So before you even tell me what you don't do on those days, because they're not as special, because you don't have Korban Musaf, why would you even mention Monday and Thursday as examples that are not as important, but they're important? Sheni v'chamishi, ma'ya v'detaya, what did they do? What's so great about them? Ela sheni v'hei v'bet jataniyot. The way you read it is like this. The Monday, Thursday, and Monday, which we called behab, bet, hey, bet, sheltaniyot, of fast days. Meaning, when it wasn't enough rain, they would institute fasts. That's what the whole masechet Tanit is about. And the way they would do it was they would do it on Monday, Thursday, Monday. That's the way they did it. So there's special days, but there's no korban. But they were fasting. Okay. Umamadot. Now, what are mamadot? I'll tell you very quickly. Basically, that daily korban that we just mentioned before, of the morning and the afternoon, whose korban was it? We bring half a shekel before in Adar to buy all those sheep. They're everybody's korban. It's a korban tzibur. And actually, all the korbanot that they added on Shabbat and on Rosh Chodesh and on Yom Tov as well were also from us, from every Jew. So, and the halacha is, we learn that from Pasuk, that the owner of the korban has to come. So that means that every single day, all the Jews should be in the temple, morning and afternoon, because they're bringing the korban. So what do? So the answer is, what we do is like this. We send great tzaddikim to represent us as our agents, our shluchim, to the Beit HaMikdash. And what they did is they made 24 groups, just like the Kohanim, which actually did the service in the temple, was split into 24 groups. They had 24 groups of these tzaddikim. Now, The entire group didn't go. What they did is they sent from different cities part of that group. Let's say it's group number 17 this week. Okay? Now, what they did is they did group per week. So you have 24, and then every group had 2 weeks a year because it's 48 altogether, right? 24, and then you get the cycle again. It takes 48 out of 52 weeks a year. The other 4 weeks are Yom Tov anyways. We're not going to get into all the details now. It's not our sugya, it's not our topic at hand, but every week, let's say it's group number 17 now, some of those people would go to the Beit HaMikdash and they would be there. Because it says in the Torah, if you remember the words, Tishmeru la'akriv li b'moado. They should watch. They should be there. And the rest of the group would stay back in their Batei Knesiyot, and they would fast. And they would read special parts of the Torah. Actually, parts of the Torah of the first 6 days of creation. Because when you bring the Korban Tamid, it's as great as creating the world. And they would be fasting. That's what Ma'amadot is. There was a Ma'amad, a standing of the people in the Beit HaMikdash and the people back in the Batei Knesiyot. It was basic stuff. This is like basic, every daily things going on. It's a very important thing to know. It's mentioned many times in the Gemara. Anyways, on those days they were very special, and what you had to do is you had to mention you would mention Me'ena Ma'ora. You know Me'ena Ma'ora means? Me'en from Me'ora, what happened. Now, they're fasting. Now, oh, by the way, I didn't mention something. When did they fast, those people? They fasted, I think, Monday through Thursday. Now, so the fast of the rain were Monday, Thursday, and then the following Monday. The fast of the Ma'amadot were Monday through Thursday. Okay? So the common thread that's running through this second group is fast days. So what do you do on fast days? What you do is you say of the day, which means there's a prayer that you insert to the Shemona Esrei that has to do with fasting. Fasting is basically asking Hashem to accept our korbanot and accept our prayers for rain. So you say this special insert called, you're all probably familiar with it, it's called Anenu Hashem Anenu. Please answer us biyom tzom ta'anitenu, on the day of our fast. Kivitzara gdola anachnu, because we're in a great calamity. Okay, so you mentioned that. Where? B'shomei tefillah. V'im lo amar, but if you didn't, ein machzirin oto, you don't make him go back. Okay? It's not so essential. V'emem k'dush halakos, you don't mention k'dush. Now, when should you have kiddush? Fine, just take that out. And you don't mention the day in the Birkat Hamazon. Now you say, like, what should you mention anyways? I never saw such a thing. The reason why I never saw such a thing is because the halakha is you don't mention it. If you would have mentioned it, then there would have been some sort of insert in the Birkat. Now you might say, what do you mean Birkat Hamazon? The guy ate? I thought it's a fast day. The answer is the night of the fast day. When the fast didn't yet begin, but it's the night of that day, so you would think maybe there should be something to be inserted. You don't mention anything there. Okay, so that is the halakha, and that's the end of that braita. So what's the halakha? Let's just recap. Chanukah, you do mention ala nisim in the nod halakha, in the thank you part. Besides, not only in the Shemona Esrei. Rosh Chodesh, we also mention Yalev Yavo in the Shemona Esrei and in the Birkat Hamazon as well. And on fast days, even at night, there's nothing to mention in the Birkat Hamazon. Ibayilhu, they asked a new question. Ma'al le'azkir shechanukah b'musafin. What's the halacha of mentioning Chanukah in the Musaf? Okay, basically, on Chanukah, Shabbat. So on Shabbat, they added a korban. You know, we have a whole prayer called Tfilat Musaf because of those korbanot. Uviyom Shabbat shnei chavastim b'nei shana tamimim. They added 2 little sheep. So, should you mention ala nisim in the modim of Musaf of Shabbat? Anybody who learns when they're tired, the Gemara says that if a person learns when they're in pain, it's worth 100 times. So it's like going to 100 shurim. If that doesn't wake you up, then mamish 100 shurim. Kiven the letre musaf b'didei lo mat kirinan. So you might say that the reason why you don't mention Chanukah. What does it mean Chanukah? You mention Chanukah. Mention the Alanisim in the Tfilat Musaf of Shabbat. Is because it doesn't have Tfilat of Musaf. They didn't bring any special korbanot for Chanukah. Every day on Chanukah you have Musaf? No. On Shabbat of Chanukah you have Musaf for the Shabbat. But you don't have your own Musaf. So this Tfilah has nothing to do with me. Chanukah. So just because it's being said I should mention Alanisim, it doesn't have anything to do with Chanukah. Lo matkrinan. Shachrit, mincha, arvit, I have to say on Chanukah. Or dilma yomu shechayav ba'arbat tefillot. Or maybe it doesn't matter. Today is a day that we have 4 tefillot.
We got the Beit HaMikdash. You can't do no Musaf without a Beit HaMikdash.
No, we're talking about the tefillah Musaf.
I understand that, but I'm tying it in. Why would you talk about Hanukkah during the Musaf? Connects because I'm just saying on a conceptual level.
Conceptual level, that what?
We took over the Beit HaMikdash, put the oil, Hanukkah. We had repossession of it, and therefore you can still do a Musaf offering.
Oh, this is already. This the Gemara didn't think of. No, the Gemara doesn't mention it. You're saying Hanukkah brought us back to the Musaf. Hanukkah.
It's on the bottom left of the page under Divrei Michael. It's right there.
Mine is printed without it, but B'ezrat Hashem, it's a very nice thing. I like what you're saying, but the Gemara, you're saying the Hanukkah brought us back to the Mustafin. It's nice. At the end of the day, you're going to get what you want because it's going to be there, but it's a machloket. We're going to go like, okay. So the Gemara says, "L'maisi odil mi yomu shechayav ba'arbat tefillot." At the end of the day, there's 4 tefillot today, so you don't change around. Once, whatever you do on the other 3 tefillot, you do on the 4th one. You mentioned Alanisim. So Rav Huna v'Rav Yehuda d'Amrit Havar eno maskir, nothing doing, because it has nothing to do with Chanukah. Rav Nachman Rav Yochanan d'Amrit Havar mazkir, you do. Amar Abaye Rav Yosef hod Rav Huna the Rav Yehuda the Ravu. This Rav Huna and Rav Yehuda said you don't say. You should know that's Rav's opinion. The Amar Rav Gidel Amar Rav, because Rav Gidel said in the name of Rav, Rosh Chodesh Chal Yot b'Shabbat. Rosh Chodesh that fell out on Shabbat. Okay, first day of the month is on Shabbat. Hamaftir ben Avi b'Shabbat. When you say the Haftorah, the reading of the Navi, of the prophets, after the Torah reading on Shabbat, then we say brachot, right? Baruch atah Hashem mikadesh Shabbat. Do you have to mention Rosh Chodesh? Eino tzarich le'azkir Rosh Chodesh. Why? Why not? It's Rosh Chodesh today. She'ilamali Shabbat ein avi b'Rosh Chodesh. Because if not for Shabbat, there wouldn't have been a reading of Haftorah on Rosh Chodesh. So if not for Shabbat, there wouldn't have been a Musaf today. So therefore, don't mention the Chanukah either in the Musaf. The Gemara says, so therefore, the ruling of Rav Yehuda and Rav Yehuda that said you don't is based on this din of Rav Gidel in the name of Rav. The Gemara says, no comparison. Midami. Hatam Navi b'der Rosh Chodesh leka klal. There ain't no Navi on Rosh Chodesh at all. Hacha ite be'avet v'shachet mincha. Here at least there is such a concept of Alanisim today in the Shemona Esrei and all the other tefillot. So maybe this one has nothing to do with Chanukah, but like we want to equate all the tefillot together. There, we're in the middle of a bracha on Haftorah. There isn't a bracha on Haftorah the rest of the day. Like the whole bracha of the Haftorah has to do with the Haftorah, which is only about Shabbat. Nothing to do with Rosh Chodesh. Ella, rather, if you want to compare it to something, lahadamya, to the following you should compare to. The Amarav Achdavoy, Amarav Matna Amarav. This is what he said in the name of Rav. Yom Tov shechal liot b'Shabbat. Yom Tov that fell out on Shabbat. Hamaftir b'Navi. Okay, it's Yom Tov and it's Shabbat today. Now, you're saying Haftorah. Haftorah on Yom Tov is said on Yom Tov as well, not just Shabbat. B'mincha, b'Shabbat, but you're saying it by Mincha on Shabbat. Okay? Now, what's this business of saying Navi on Mincha on Shabbat? You say Haftorah on Mincha Shabbat? So Rashi says that he found in the Tshuvat of the Gaonim, the responses of the Gaonim, that they would actually read 10 psukim of Haftorah on Shabbat by Mincha, and then the Persians, it's the second to last Rashi on the page, in the days of the Persians, they decreed they shouldn't do it, and once they stopped it, they never went back to it. Tosfot says nothing doing, because there's a Mishnah, it can't be, because there's a Gemara that says you don't have it. So Tosfot says that means something else over here. It's Ktuvim, not Navi, whatever it is, there's other pshatim here. But anyways, the halacha is like this. They did some sort of haftorah on Mincha Shabbat. Ein tzarich le'askish Yom Tov. So when you make the bracha on that haftorah, you only say Baruch Ata Hashem Mikadesh HaShabbat. You don't say Baruch Ata Hashem Mikadesh HaShabbat v'Yisrael v'Azmanim. You don't mention Yom Tov. She'ilamali Shabbat ein Navi Mincha Yom Tov. Because if not for Shabbat, there wouldn't have been Navi on Mincha on Yom Tov. Now, that is comparable to saying Ala Nisim on Chanukah and Musaf. Because there is Yom Tov with the bracha of Yom Tov on Haftorah the rest of the day in the morning. But since in the afternoon, the Haftorah was only for Shabbat, not for Yom Tov, if you don't mention it. The same thing, Ala Nisim, even though we have Ala Nisim the rest of the day, but since this tefillah of Musaf is only because of Shabbat, you don't mention Ala Nisim. That's what Rav Yehuda Amarav should be compared to. Rav Yehuda and Rav Huna should be compared to this halacha of Rav Matna in the name of Rav. But the Gemara says, we don't even go like Rav. Why? What that means is like this. Rabbi Shimon Levi taught Yom Kippurim that fell out on Shabbat. You pray Ni'ilah, you mention Shabbat in your tefillah. Even though there's no Ni'ilah at all on a normal Shabbat, you mention Shabbat. Why? Because it's a day that has 4 tefillot. Shachrit, Musaf, Mincha, and Ni'ilah. And therefore don't differentiate. And therefore, just like we don't differentiate on Ni'ilah, and we mention Shabbat, even though the Ni'ilah has nothing to do with the Shabbat, it's only because of Yom Kippur, so too, we mention the Ala Nisim in the Musaf of Shabbat on Chanukah, and you got it. You got your Ala Nisim there. So the Gemara says, Kasha Hilchata Hilchata. This ruling of Rabbi Shimon Levi contradicts another one. Amrit Hilchata Rabbi Shimon Levi, because you just said that halacha follows Rabbi Shimon Levi. Well, it's not a contradiction between Rabbi Shimon Levi himself, but it's a contradiction of what we rule like. We rule like Rabbi Shimon Levi, that you do mention Shabbat in Ni'ilah, Yom Kippurim. The Kaimel Hilchata Rava, and we also rule like Rava. The Amar Rava Yom Tov shechal liot b'Shabbat. If Yom Tov falls out on Shabbat, shtir tzibur yored lifnei hateva arvit. The Chazan, the Shtir Tzibur, that says the Tefillah of Arvit, and you know that we say a short version of the whole Shemona Esrei. Magen Avot bidvaro mechayim etim b'mamro, right? He said Baruch Ata Hashem on every Shabbat night. Elu tzarich le'azkir sheyom tov. When he finalizes the bracha and he says Baruch Ata Hashem mekadesh Shabbat, he doesn't say v'Yisrael v'hazbanim. Why not? She'ilmalei Shabbat en Shtir Tzibur yored Arvit b'Yom Tov. Okay? Because if not for Shabbat, he wouldn't be saying, if it would just be Yom Tov tonight, would he be saying this Magen Avot thing of Baruch Atah Hashem, this short version of Shemona Esrei? It's called Me'en Sheva. Me'en Sheva means a little bit of the 7. A short version of the 7 brachot that we just said. No. You wouldn't. So therefore, we see clearly that if you don't, if it wouldn't have been here, if not for the Shabbat, you don't mention the other thing that's going on today. So how does that work with mentioning Shabbat on the Ni'ilah Tfilah? So the Gemara says, Hachi Hashte, how could you compare Ni'ilah, mentioning Shabbat by Ni'ilah, or mentioning the Yom Tov by this bracha of Me'en Sheva on Shabbat? Hatam b'dinu dafilu b'Shabbat nami lo tzarich. V'rabbananu d'takuni mishum sakana. Aval hacha yomu shelichayev v'arba tefilot. Means like this. The truth is that Shabbat itself shouldn't even be mentioned. You shouldn't have the whole halacha of doing this Baruch Atah Hashem, this short version of the 7 that the Chazan does. Why did they do it? They did it because people used to go to the Beit HaKnesset at night on Shabbat. Unlike other days of the week, where it was dangerous, they went home. But on Shabbat night, they all went, because they didn't work. And they were worried about the people who would come late to the shul and be left there stranded alone. It was out in the fields, the Beit HaKnesset. So what they did is they lengthened, because of the sakana, so they enacted this. It's really not needed, but they did it so that people shouldn't be stranded. So they made the tefillah longer, so he can catch up. And then everybody would exit the shul together. That's why if it's Yom Tov, you're not going to say, oh, mention the Yom Tov as well. I mean, the whole thing is not even so, it wasn't so needed. It was only there for a takanat, so it shouldn't be dangerous. That's why we're not going to mention Yom Tov. But on Ni'ilah was needed. It was a day that they instituted not just 3 tefillot of Shachrit, Musaf, and Mincha, but 4 tefillot with Ni'ilah. And therefore, you don't differentiate. Let's continue. The Mishnah said, okay, let's go a little quicker. V'lo be'alyah. You don't use the fat of the tail of the sheep. V'lo v'chelev, and not with the fats. Nachum Amadi Amer, he said, you can use fats that are cooked. And the Chachamim said, whether it's cooked and whether it's not cooked. So the problem is like this. The Chachamim are saying whether it's cooked or whether it's not cooked. And what did the Tana Kama say right before Nachum Amadi? V'lo v'alyah, v'lo v'chelev. Chelev means like whether it's cooked or not. Yeah. No chelev. So the Chachamim then reiterated what the Tana Kama said. What do we need to do that for? We already mentioned that shita. So the Gemara says, the Chachamim haynu Tana Kama. So the Gemara answers, Ike beinayu de Rav Bruna Amarav. We mentioned the other day, Rav Bruna said in the name of Rav, that you're allowed to use chelev that is melted, that's cooked, if you put a little bit of good oil inside. Once you put a little good oil, right, and the innards of the fish, we had that shiur the other night, once you put a little good oil that can draw the wick towards it in a nice way, you're okay. So, therefore, there are 2 opinions here. One is saying you can't use, Nachum Amadei says you can use cooked oils, because they're good. Now, the Chachamim, they made a gzeirah. They said, or the Tana Kama, they said, no using cooked fats. I said oil, but I meant fats. No using cooked fats. Why not? It's beautiful. The answer is because once you use cooked ones, you're going to use non-cooked ones. Okay, gzeirah. The question is the gzeirah, even if you add a little of good oil, or we don't make a gzeirah there? So one of these 2.
What does that mean? What does that mean that if you're using, I don't understand what, add good oil already to the existing, let's say you're using the fish oil, now you want to put that fat oil from the fat and add it to that? No, like this. Let's. I'm going to say it again, okay? Okay. If you cook the fat, it's really a fine oil.
Okay, and that's why Nacham Amadai, which we're not really going to talk about, he says use it. We don't go with Nacham Amadai. These two opinions. They say don't use cooked oils, cooked fats, because if you use cooked fats, one day you'll use the non-cooked fat. Okay. I'll X this.
Yeah.
Oh, with the mouse. Yeah. So the question is, fine, I'm not allowed to use even cooked fats, which are really good. What about if I add a little good oil into the cooked fats?
Any type of oil?
Good one. Yeah, a good oil.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Rav Bruna, in the name of Rav, said you could do that.
For cooked fats.
For cooked fats.
Not for not cooked fats.
Right.
Right.
Okay?
I mean, not.
Everybody agrees not cooked fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, for cooked fats. Exactly.
Yeah.
So the question is like this. One of these two man Amrim that argue with Nacham Amadai and say don't use even cooked fats, one of them is saying don't use cooked fats even if you add good oil. And the other one says don't use cooked fats, but if you add good oil, you could. Which one? That's the difference between the Chachamim and the Tanakama. Which one is which? So the Gemara says, V'lo Mesaimi. It's not clear. We don't know which one. Okay? Let's do... Okay, I want to go. I want to make an announcement to everyone now. Today, if I don't make the announcement, I realize it's just never going to happen. So today, Be'ezrat Hashem, at about, what time? Yeah, 6:20, at 6:25?
What, you want to make a
No, I want to make a mincha somewhere else, I think. At 6:20, we're going to have another shir today, Be'ezrat Hashem. And today, Be'ezrat Hashem, with the help of Hashem, we're going to catch up to the rest of the world. So I'm doing the same page as everybody else, Be'ezrat Hashem. Chazak Baruch.